We used to get picked up all the Sunderland lads. There was 2 buses. There was one for the bright kids in the academy. There was one for the thick kids in the academy.
Which were you on?
I was on the thick bus.
You didn't get picked up.
This is the official Leeds United podcast.
How are you settling in? Obviously, it's not too bad of a hop down the A1 from Newcastle to Leeds, but how's it all going so far?
Yeah, good. I've been in now probably 10, 12 days, and it's been pretty intense. Obviously, we had the 3 games last week, so that's quite an intense period to come back into. I come off the plane from Atlanta. Obviously, I was pre-season with Newcastle, and then realised that the deal was going to go through. So flew back from there, arrived here at 7 a.m. in the morning. Medical, everything you need to do, media, etc. Wow. was done and dusted by 11 o'clock at night, I think it was, and then travelled to Hearts the next day for the pre-season game. And then, straight into the season. So it's been a bit of a whirlwind, but I'm finding my feet now, and I'm pleased to be here, obviously.
Well, I can sympathise with you because obviously I made the move many years ago, 99-2000, from the northeast down to Leeds. How's the travel been for you? Are you living or based down in Leeds at the minute, or are you still commuting from the northeast?
No, I'm down here. Like I said, we've been in near enough every day, so it's probably just too far for me to be commuting from there every day. And also, I think it's nice that once I'm at a club, I feel like I need to be fully engaged in probably the city and the people and everything around it. I think that's a massive factor. I don't think I can go from one place travelling down to another and have that distance between the club and where I'm actually living. So it's nice. Obviously, I've been back a couple of times, pop back and see how positive it is up there now, obviously. And it's good. It's nice. It's a good city here, and I'm looking forward to getting to know it better.
Well, it takes me 1 hour 55 to get from Whitley Bay down to Leeds, mate. So you're Morpeth boy. You're living there. How long does it take you?
Hour 45, mate.
You've got a faster car than me, Matt. A faster car than me. My footballer days are gone, mate.
All Leeds, aren't we? The official Leeds United podcast.
Obviously, you've got Melia there. You played in the Cup game, in the Carabao Cup. You saw it. How's that going? How's your relationship building with that? Are you just pushing each other along?
Yeah, of course. I think any goalkeeping group that you go into, the first interview I did, I think, look, I've been in this game long enough to know that wherever you go and whatever club you're at, you're going to have good goalkeepers and top goalkeepers competing against you. As a professional athlete, I think you'd be naive to think that that's not going to happen. So I knew exactly what I was getting into when I stepped in this door. So for me, a bit of patience probably to start off with, and it's one that I'm looking forward to battling, if you like, or going along the road of wanting to play. It's one of the things that you have to deal with.
We had Bex on the show for Jermaine Beckford on the show for many years, and he used to talk about, and I wonder if this is the same with you as well, Bridgie. Actually, he used to talk in the changing room about when he had fellow strikers in there. You're all together for the team, you're all supportive of the team, but at the same time, while you're in there, you're thinking, he's up for my spot here. I want that spot. Is there a strange dynamic where obviously you want to help each other as best you can and maybe, I don't know, constructive criticism, but is there also sometimes where you say you've got a bit of a niggling injury, you don't want to share it because you're thinking, I don't want anyone to know any weakness, I want to make sure that everyone thinks I'm fit and ready to go. Did you both experience that in the changing room when you were in a competition for places?
For myself, no, I'm quite open and honest all the way through. So if I will play in any game, no matter what, near enough, unless something's broken. So that's just the way I am. That's the way I'm wired up. I think that if I'm fit and I've got a niggle, I'm going to get through it no matter what, really. And I've played, and you'd be the same, Bridgie. How many times have you played at not 100%? It's just one of them things within professional sport that you have to get through and know that. Well, like you say, if you don't play that game, that could be ultimately your last game because someone else might come in and take your spot and have an unbelievable game or score 4 goals, 5 goals. Do you know what I mean? And then you're out the picture again. So for me, if I'm available and I'm well, then I'm I'm there every game.
Do you guys, Carl, because obviously I've finished, I retired about 8-9 years ago. Do you lads still go off early and do your own sessions and do your own training and have your own little plot of land at the training ground? Or have times changed where you now are a little bit more integrated in the training sessions? So are you in the possession games nowadays and things like that?
Yeah, we are. Yeah, it's a right mixed match really. We'll be, obviously the goalkeeping coach will get a certain amount of time dictated to him of how long we have together.
Yeah.
So we'll do all our specific training and everything like that. And then obviously when they need us for whatever it might be, like you say, possession drill, shooting drill, small-sided games, tactical work, then we obviously go over. So for that, probably half an hour, 45 minutes, I'd say that we get, like you say, in that bubble of 4 or 5 goalkeepers, and then we get taken away to be with the riffraff like you lot. So,
yeah, I was going to say. we used to just wave Nigel Martin and Paul Robinson off into the little corner of the paddock field, and say, we'll see you later, lads, and then you might see them for a little spell. But I know coaching myself nowadays that times have changed. It's great to get you lads in for the possession games. So I just thought, it's nice for the fans and other goalkeepers out there to hear that what goes on in the pro game. You're not just seen as these, get over there, lads, and you're forgotten about anymore.
Yeah, definitely, and I think that's the way that goalkeeping has evolved. Like everyone talks about nowadays, you have to be good with your feet as well. So that's probably one of the main changes that's happened throughout my career. To start off with, it was never that you'd be in a possession drill or be asked to do anything outfield like.
Because every time you give it away, we would give you grief saying, get them out here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Ruining the sessions again.
Correct.
Listening on together.
As a goalkeeper, you have to get rid of things as quickly as possible. So if you've made a mistake or you've done something that's wrong, then your next action has to be perfect. Yeah. And probably the next 5 or 6 after that for the crowd to get off your back, especially if you're playing away from home. Every time it comes back to you, you get in the old
Yeah.
So it's
the banter of football. I love
it. And then obviously the words that come with that. So it's a case of recovering from it as quickly as possible. And moving on.
So you were just talking there. You said hopefully it's just one position that you come on for, your goalkeeping position.
Yeah.
I'm going to take you back to when you were obviously growing up playing football. For the first one, did you always realise you were going to be a goalkeeper? And when you were a kid, did you play any other positions? Because when I played at Leeds United, Paul Robinson always fancied himself as a striker, penalties, free kicks. He always used to think that he was God's gift. And I'm trying to think somebody else.
He could head it though, couldn't he?
He certainly could. He got a goal against Swindon. So was there any other positions you played as a kid, and what made you decide to be goalkeeper? When did you realise?
Yeah, so I was 7 or 8 probably, and I played centre half. And I actually went on trial at Aston Villa. I came through the academy from 8 till 15. Yeah, from 8 till 15. I got signed as an 8-year-old. Wow. As a centre half. So I signed as a centre half at 8 years old. Went in goal, and I always remember my dad saying, "Don't go in goal, never go in goal," because he knew that I was good. And so I went in a couple of sessions where they said, "Oh, can you play in goal? Can you do this?" I said, "Yeah." Went in goal and came to it, and they obviously said, "Look, we think you're better in goal than what you are at centre half. We want to keep you on as a goalkeeper."
Wow.
And to be fair, as a young lad, I always loved playing in goal. As if you've got, I don't know, if you have kids that you know what it's like diving around and you can get rid of a load of energy. So I always loved that part of playing in goal, and for some reason being smashed with a ball from 5 yards away. It's one of the things that they say we're mad, but it is that's the crazy thing about it. Probably the best feeling for me is when you make a save from 3 or 4 yards out and it's just cannoned off you. I don't think there's a better feeling for me than that, or coming for a cross and getting smashed in the air.
I love that.
And knowing you've taken it.
You've got the mindset of the monk off Mean Machine.
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah. Love it.
Yeah. Yeah, horrible. I might look like this, but I'm pretty horrible underneath, mate.
All Leeds, aren't we? The official Leeds United podcast.
The scout turned to my dad and said, "Excuse me, do you mind us asking who's the number 10? He said, "I'm here to see Simon Foster, but he's not playing. Who's the number 10? And my dad said, "Oh, that's Michael Bridges." He said, "Simon Foster's rubbish, mate. Take this kid." And he didn't tell him my dad never mentioned he was my father. And long story short, I got the opportunity to go and have a 2-week trial as work experience from school. And I was in there for 3 days, and I just had an absolute worldie 3 days where I was doing very, very well against the academy kids, and I was offered a contract the following year to come as an apprentice for 2 years. So I was very, very lucky, but I was ready for the opportunity. After two moments of rejection, I used that as motivation to get through, mate. So I went from being a midfielder as a kid to a striker at Sunderland at a late age.
So, I mean, am I right in saying that you were released by Villa and then recommended to Forest, Karl? Is that right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, I've been an actor since I was 5, so I'm pretty comfortable with rejection by now.
That makes all 3 of us now, then.
Right. So, what I'm curious about is, like, when you're that age, you know, when Bridgie, you were saying you were 10, 11, I think, were you like 13, Karl? Like, when you get let go by a team, do you think, oh, that's it now, I'm done, like, I'm never going to be a footballer? Or does it actually put a rocket up your arse? How did it work for you two?
Yeah, for myself, it was a strange one because I had 2 goalkeeping coaches, Eric Steele, who's well known throughout the goalkeeping world, and Andy Quay, and they both recommended to the academy director to keep me on. So they left anyway under the management about 2-3 months before the renewals happened.
And this is from Villa?
This is from Villa, yeah. So I thought, right, I'm fine. Like, they've both told me, the 2 people that I worked with the most all the way through the last 3 or 4 years, they said to recommend to keep me on. So going into it, trained, I remember with Dad going into the meeting, coming out of the meeting, and then went to get in the car home, just expecting him to say, oh yeah, you've signed a scholar, it's going to be 2 years, this, that and the other. And he said, no, like, they're not offering you one. And I honestly thought he was joking. I was like, seriously?
Oh, wow.
He's like, yeah, no, they're not giving you it, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, was not upset, but gutted, thinking, well, I spent so much of my time at this club, 7-8 years, been up and down to Birmingham however many times, and it was a big part of my life from growing up. It was all my football career new. Anyway, 2-3 weeks later, Eric Steele had got in touch with Steve Sutton at Nottingham Forest and Dave Watson at Nottingham Forest, the 2 goalkeeping coaches there, to take a look at him, blah, blah, blah. Went in there and then was probably there a week, 2 weeks, and they said, yeah, we're going to offer you a scholarship. So it's as quick as that it can then turn around again. Obviously, I was fortunate that I had Eric Steele, who is a big name in like the goalkeeping coaching world, recommend me to go somewhere else. And at that stage of my career, it was perfect for me. Looking back on it now, I was able to develop at Nottingham Forest, knowing there was a pathway through to get to the number 1 spot, which may not have been there at Aston Villa. Yeah. So at the point of rejection, like you say, it was obviously disappointing, but the fact that things turned around so quickly again for me to be able to have another opportunity and I could see a way through and a pathway through, and I was working with Steve Sutton, was unbelievable for me going through as a young goalie and progressing me into that first team.
One of the questions I get asked all the time, which I actually find pretty boring now, is like, so how did you do your schooling? How did you do acting and schooling at the same time? But actually, now I'm talking to you two, I'm genuinely curious. Like, how does that all work? Like, do clubs, like in America, for example, clubs are really strict on the education side. You know, if you're not getting the grades, you aren't going to make the team. Is that a similar thing here, or are you kind of left to your own devices? Is time made for that kind of thing? Like, how many kids come out at 15, didn't get a pro contract, but also barely got any GCSEs either? Like, how does the education side work?
I'll give you a quick one on my answer. We used to get picked up, all the Sunderland lads. There was 2 buses. There was one for the bright kids in the academy. There was one for the thick kids in the academy.
Which were you on?
I was on the thick bus.
He didn't get picked up.
This is the official Leeds United podcast.